Well, g'day and welcome. My name's Will Salter. I'm the global head of the Seedcare and Biologicals Institute with Syngenta, and it's really wonderful to have this huge crowd here with us today. If you're watching along online on YouTube, feel free to click the captions button. My English is Australian English, and I understand not everyone understands it perfectly. But I'll introduce these two handsome gentlemen next to me shortly. First of all, a quick introduction. It's really exciting to be here launching what is our new Seedcare and Biological Institute network. We've got a dedicated network of both facilities and experts all over the globe that have a strong tradition in helping support new seed-applied technologies like Victrado, which you'll all be familiar with. And the world is changing, and so are we. There's these new biological products that are coming to market. And we want to be at the forefront of that technology as we have been with the seed-applied technologies. And that's why we're moving more and more into supporting that through the Seedcare and Biologicals Institute network. So, to that point, I've got two gentlemen here that are no strangers to both ISF and our customers globally. First of all, Guido Ramirez. He's a product manager globally for Seedcare and Biologicals, specifically seed-applied biological products. So great to have you, Guido. And Benoît Husser, who's a senior agronomist with the Seedcare and Biologicals Institute. So, Guido, maybe a little bit more about yourself as an introduction.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here at ISF, World Seed Congress in Lisbon. And very happy to be part of this journey where we are unveiling the Seedcare and Biologicals Institute. It feels almost like a dream come true to have biologicals being embedded in this amazing platform that is the Seedcare and Biologicals Institute. So, been with Syngenta for 3 years, 10 years in the past with a biologicals company, and having this kind of transformation or this incorporation of biologicals into this institute feels like really coming mainstream. Yeah. And having the support of this network to drive forward biologicals is something out of this world. It's quite amazing for me personally to be part of this journey. So very happy to be here with you and to walk through this journey together.
And you used to be a customer of ours previously, so it's great to have you on this side of the fence.
Yeah, I remember the first time I stepped into the Seedcare Institute at that time in Pergamino in Argentina, and it was like being a boy coming in a toy shop. I mean, you could see all the nice equipment, the seeds, the different recipes, how the combination of the different products came together really nicely with the support of our experts. And it was an amazing opportunity. Every time I got to tour the SCI, being a customer or bringing customers of ours, it was always a great experience. And we would always come out learning something new. Awesome. This was awesome.
Well, and Benoît, I introduced you as a senior agronomist. That applies more to your experience than anything else, but this is not your first ISF. You've been around before.
It's definitely not my first one. I don't count them anymore, but probably more than a dozen. And yes, what I appreciate most is, as Guido also mentioned, to meet with real customers. Yeah, this is a unique opportunity here we have to get first-hand questions, expectations from our customers. Look, I'm an agronomist from education. I'm coming from a farm business, a farming business. I think I have a right understanding of what are the expectations, but all over again and again, we get new expectations, new questions, new needs expressed by the customers, and we have to be humble. I always say to my colleagues as well, let's stay humble to find out where we can help, where are the needs. And look, this is driving me for almost 40 years that I'm in this industry, starting from a given seed company that is close to my heart as well, already thinking about what could be helpful to protect these babies, the seeds, that makes the difference in the crop and in the yield at the end of the day. So yes, I moved to Seedcare, and nowadays Seedcare on biologicals. And I will tell you more about what we have inside of this entity.
Well, I hope so. Maybe back to you to start, Guido. You're closer to the coalface on seed-applied biologicals than most. You're dealing with our technologies, what's coming through in the pipeline, etc. And maybe a question to start with about how much is this adoption of seed-applied biologicals us pushing versus the market pulling? And before you answer that, just so we're all speaking the same language, what do we mean by biologicals? Maybe bring some context for us.
So biologicals are products coming from a natural origin, and within biologicals we have three key segments. So biocontrol, which is crop protection done in a different way using biological origin products. Okay, so it's more similar to the traditional crop protection, biocontrol. Then we have biostimulants, so these are products that aid on plant vitality, that might help the crop, for example, alleviate some kind of stress or enhance the physiology of the crop. And third segment, and a bit more novel segment, is nutrient use efficiency. And this is all about nutrition, how to make that nutrition program more efficient, right? How to make a better use of those nutrients that are available in the system, whether it's nutrients in the soil or nutrients that have been applied, or fixing nutrients from the atmosphere, like nitrogen fixation. So there's different ways, different modes of action, and these are the three main components of biologicals portfolio at Syngenta. And in terms of pull or push, I think this is a balance that we see in the market, right? So of course there's a need from the market, from the growers, from the seed companies, to have new tools in the toolbox. There's different reasons, of course, depending on each of these three segments that I mentioned. There's different drivers. Sometimes it's the climate, the inconvenience that farmers face in the early season, the climate change challenges. Sometimes it's, I need some new modes of action to fight against this disease or this pest. So it depends. Nowadays, with the fertilizer prices, we see a lot of interest on nutrition, how to make nutrition more efficient, right? We have a tool that has been around in seed-applied biologicals for many, many years, and we now give it for granted, but it's rhizobia inoculants in soybeans, in legumes. This is a good example of a technology that is very widely adopted today, and the farmers have adopted because they saw the value, right? So if the farmers, the customers, they see the value, then they will go for it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and the need for these products is clear, and there's many. You've just mentioned some of them. We know from our experience with conventional seed treatments, chemistry, that they can bring questions with it when we apply it to seed. Is it going to harm the seed? Is there challenges with vigor? How does it mix into a slurry? How do I apply it to my seeds? Those sorts of challenges that we've been good at answering over the years. Are we seeing the same challenges for biologicals, seed-applied biologicals, as that conventional seed treatment, or are there new challenges as well?
I mean, the needs or the questions are in the same areas, right? So assurance, quality assurance, how do I make a good seed treatment? How do I make that fit within my operation, right? So we want the products to fit within the operation of our customers, right? So the mission is the same. The tools might be changing, the origin of those tools might be changing, and we need to be aware of the characteristics of those tools, but the end goal remains the same, right? Quality, delivering a good treated seed to the farmer, this remains the same. It's part of what we have been doing. It's just that now we have more tools, and we need to understand how to work with those tools, how to combine those tools together, how to bring the best out of both, right? So that's where I think the SCBI, the Seedcare and Biologicals Institute, becomes really powerful.
Yeah, so maybe to you, Benoît, on that point. First of all, for the audience, I'm sure everyone knows exactly what a Seedcare Institute does. Maybe not everyone. So can you help us with what is a Seedcare and Biologicals Institute? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What's its purpose?
Maybe first, yes, what is a Seedcare Institute? It's not just a building where we have experts inside. Yeah? It's a network of experts all over the world. We have more than 18 of these institutes spread over the world, where we have people dedicated to bring the right solutions. Guido already touched some aspects of providing the solution to our different customers. And yes, the solutions are always different in terms of very much tailored to the needs, tailored to the situation in terms of crops, in terms of products that are combined. So in our institutes, yes, we have the experts that very much cover what you mentioned in terms of the recipe, what is the solution, what is the quality that we will measure here. And to your question, how is the biological coming in here? It's an additional new questions that come in. We are not talking about challenges, it's just new questions that come in. And I'm not saying we love it complicated or we love it complex, but yes, we have the capability to reply to these new questions. And with the biologicals coming together with the chemistry, yes, it requires some new analysis, some new testing, and making sure we provide the right suggestions, recommendations to our customers.
Okay.
That's what we do in the institutes.
And so what are you seeing changing in those institutes over the last 2 or 3 years in terms of the way we're bringing those services to customers, or things that we're working on to help answer these questions?
Absolutely, it's very much about the complexity of building the recipes, and this is probably where in Seedcare, Syngenta, SCBIs, we have this expertise, bringing together the complexity. It's not just about compatibility, physical, chemical compatibility works, yes, no. It's also about having the right understanding on how to bring these products together. Yeah, it's not. It's a lot of know-how. We leverage what we understand already, what we have very much under control in terms of recipe building. Mm-hmm. Yeah, recipe building, and also coming to the sequence, the order of mixing the partners together. Yeah, you can. In nowadays solutions, we have more and more complex solutions that are built of insecticide, fungicide, biologicals, up to 6, 7 products together. So which order do you apply them? Which way do you come in? How much water do you add, etc.? This is the kind of aspects we consider right from the beginning, and we have that capabilities.
You're both making it sound very compelling, very nice, but we do see resistance to adoption of biologicals in some instances. LATAM, not so much. Argentinians, Brazilians, even though they have full access to conventional solutions, chemistry, they're one of the biggest adopters of biologicals, both foliar, soil applied, and the seed applied technologies. Whereas in Europe, where we see a lot of restriction on conventional chemistry, there's a resistance to adoption at times. What's holding some companies back from, or customers back from adopting biologicals that you're seeing?
This is a question that we can probably spend a couple of hours discussing, but let's touch on a few points to keep in consideration. So, of course, we need to understand the market specifics, right? The dynamics are different according to every market. The drivers for the farmers to make the decision, or the customers to make the decision, are different. The regulatory frameworks are different. In some cases, there's no regulatory framework that is there to register a biological product, right? So this is one of the aspects. Then I think it's also about the go-to-market, right? The execution of that go-to-market and that field force and how that demand is generated. With biologicals, is a fairly new area for many. So there's a lot of training that needs to happen at the field level to generate that demand, right? And how to tie that with what the farmer needs. Okay, so of course you need to be addressing the most pressing challenges, right? So, and there's multiple angles for that, and there's multiple opportunities. But at the end, I think that one of the keys is the go-to-market and how you design go-to-market that really is fit for purpose. Okay. And how you can touch on those pain points that the customer might have.
Yep. Benoît, you're a farmer in Europe, or from a farming family in Europe. What's your adoption of biologicals been like, and what are some of the pain points or challenges, resistance? Is it just about product? Is it about the agronomy, the numbers? Or is it about the formulation, the types of products that are being developed and brought to market? And maybe if you can add to that, what do you see the Seedcare Biologicals Institute doing to try and help break down some of those concerns or address some of those concerns?
It's definitely about all of what you mentioned, and where the SCBI, Seedcare Biologicals Institute, can help is very much bringing this assurance of providing the right solution. Yeah. So we are talking about quality assessment, and in our jargon we talk about bringing the lab to the field. So bringing this assurance of what we recommend, what we provide as a recommendation to our users is the right thing to do. And in this direction, We have tools, we develop tools, we bring some new innovation in terms of, let's say, loading. How much active ingredient do I have on my seeds? Can I confirm that? Is my solutions when it comes to biologicals, is my solution viable on the seed? Is it still there doing the job? This is the kind of measures that we bring to our customers that help them to consider, okay, these guys have something promising, not only promising, but also developed in a way that gives me the confidence that it's the right way to go for. So it's more than that, but it's a part of it. We can bring this confidence to the user or to the distributors that provide the users with our solutions.
So what I hear is there's a part of education and training that we need to help lead the market in understanding these products and how they work, because they do work different to conventional chemistry type products. And similarly, a showcasing of that technology, ways that we can demonstrate how does a biostimulant affect a plant when it's experiencing heat stress or cold stress, or how does a nutrient use efficiency product help uptake nitrogen more efficiently or phosphorus more efficiently under stress. Any examples of how we're doing that showcasing that we haven't done before potentially, that you're seeing?
We have acquired quite some experience in this area where showcasing is extremely important to convince the end users. It's not always visible. Guido mentioned the protection is there, but it's not black or white. Yeah. So we have developed some tools, some ways to illustrate, like visualizing the root development. Yeah. If you are visiting a field day, a field trial, you don't see the shoot difference, but you have to accept that in the root, in the soil, there is a difference. Yeah, how do you showcase that? Yeah, and we, in this sense, we have developed systems or tools to visualize very clearly. Yes, we have a better development of the root system using this biostimulant in comparison to the other solutions where we don't. So we call it the seeing is believing programs, where we have many of these examples. We could spend an hour on this as well, if you would like to. But yes, very much in this direction. I think we have developed much in this direction, and we are still learning. It's also not so. I mean, still quite fresh for us to go in this direction and help our customers to understand and to follow up. Maybe a word on trainings. You mentioned trainings. Yes, it's very close to my heart as well. Educating. So we have to educate our internal staff with what do we mean, definition of the biologicals, definition of the different categories, how do they operate, what are the key points to keep in mind. And in this frame, we developed digital trainings as well as physical. Yeah? So this right blending of educating our internal staff before going to the customers and having this credibility. We have a lot of material, we bring it together. It's as we speak, ongoing to have these training pathways consistent, to the point, to the needs of the customers. Again, it's not because we Syngenta, we know it all. No, we have to adapt our messages to what the customers are expecting and looking for. And that's a very important part, to have these dedicated messages. And I very much enjoy providing the right educational program to our customers at the end of the day. But first, the internal staff to be up to date. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, and I think there's a bit of an elephant in the room with biologicals that in the past, they've been referred to as snake oils, or do these things really work? Can we depend on these types of products? But as R&D companies like us are investing more and more in bringing real science to the products, it's encouraging that these work, there's a fit for them, we understand them well, and we want to continue to invest in this space. Maybe leaning back into the products, Guido, we've got some existing technology in the market, some new products that are coming through as well. Is there reason to be optimistic that this technology is getting better and better, and what are some of the examples you can share in that space?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we, as you said, Syngenta is investing in R&D, so we have now an R&D pipeline on biologicals. So looking at some of the most pressing needs that we can fulfill with biological products. So this is something that is fairly new as well. So in the case of biocontrol, we are leveraging what we know already from crop protection, but tweaking a little bit the process, or tweaking, let's say, the where we tap into for new compounds or the new substances, all right? But I think the future is, for biologicals, is bright because of companies investing more into areas like R&D and bringing new solutions that are a bit more specific in their modes of action or in their positioning. I think one of the pain points in biologicals is that sometimes the positioning is too vague, right? So if it's too vague, it's everything, and at the end, it ends up being nothing. So I think in the future, the new products will be more specific, more targeted, with the right agronomy as well. Because we know that in biologicals also you need to consider the agronomic package that gives you the best performance, all right? Yep. So there's new areas, new substances coming in. You might have heard of RNA, for example, the RNA family, or peptides, signaling molecules. All these areas I think will further develop, but also there's a lot of room for differentiation on formulation, right?
Yeah.
And in biologicals, you don't have to give formulations for granted. And in seed treatment, we know the value of a good formulation, and we have learned a lot on formulation on the Seedcare business. So we are also taking advantage of all those years of learning, or of all of our expertise in the formulation teams, to bring also the best formulations for biologicals. It's not just about the active, it's about the formulation, how you make that active stand longer in that package or on that seed when you put it into a seed treatment facility, in a seed treatment operation, how you can go through all the supply chain, how do you combine that in a recipe. So with the formulation you can do very nice things to make sure that you are delivering the right kind of product or the right kind of solution to your customer. And that's where I think Syngenta can offer a lot to the industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And Benoît, innovation from a service perspective, you've touched on some of it there before, how we addressing, sort of expanding our market coverage to access new parts of the market in developing areas through Asia potentially, or new opportunities with large farms, etc. in Latin America. What are you seeing in terms of the way we're expanding and trying to reach more growers, more seed handlers, more seed processors, more seed treaters, and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we are joining this development in some situations, opening new institutes that address exactly this need. And Guido mentioned the agronomy part is very important. The location, the situation in a given market to be addressed locally is important. This is where we have this last couple of years opened new institutes. For example, in India, we have opened one in Hyderabad that is addressing all the needs for the seed companies around in this area, considering the local needs, the local expectations, and in terms of agronomy. But also another institute that we have opened in India in the north that is more addressing the smallholders on the cereals and the rice needs. So very different expectations, but we cannot open and multiply the numbers of institutes. So we also have this mobile concept where we have smaller hubs, like in Mato Grosso, Brazil, where we have opened this type of support closer to the need, very much facing the local expectations. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and other institutes that are moving towards biologicals, investing in biolabs, what we call biolabs, very much focusing on these new questions. We are not talking about difficulties or challenges, new questions in integrating the biologicals inside of our solutions. Mm-hmm. So that's where we go physically, but also digitally. Yes, of course. We invest in digital tools that help us to touch more people and educate internally, and again the customers as well.
Yeah, it's exciting actually. I was in Mato Grosso last year and seeing the opportunity there. I was in India the year before and see the opportunities there, and we'd love to have institutes in every market, in every state, in every crop. Digital and what AI is bringing, the power of harvesting data and being able to educate people online, that's so exciting and right at the forefront of where we're heading. So I'm with you on that. So look, we've got about 5 minutes left, maybe closing views. Guido, from you, lots of good insight on the product space, R&D that's going into new technologies. Is biologicals a trend, or is it here to stay? What's your conclusion?
I mean, my experience this almost 15 years in the industry tell me that biologicals are here to stay. And we see that they are becoming more mainstream. Of course, the growth or the trajectory of the growth, the slope might change in the future. We cannot expect to grow at 15% or 17% eternally, right? So there might be a point where the slope starts to decrease a little bit, but the growth is there, and we see that there's great opportunity. I don't know if one day biologicals will match traditional crop protection. I don't know if that will happen, but definitely biologicals are here to stay and are an important component in the toolbox that the farmers have. And then it's up to each market, each farmer to define if it fits their operation or not. At the end, it's about giving them choices as well and giving them tools. And that's what we want to do from biologicals, have new tools that can fit into a farming system. Okay, but I think there's definitely a lot of areas where biologicals have already proven the value, and some new areas or new segments where we still have work to do.
Yeah, we're just getting started, really. And Benoît, from you touched on it, nearly 4 decades in the industry. You've seen some big technology being introduced, GM, the horse plough to the tractor. No, I'm joking, that was after
Not me.
time. Yeah. And now this biologicals piece. Where do you see this sitting in terms of excitement, impact, etc., from your experience?
Yeah, look, I touched it already, but what I love most is the evolution. As Guido said, it's not just a trend and it's nice to have, or maybe just a little bit different. I see it coming more and more, and we feel it from the expectations, from the demand from the customers, that yes, it's our daily bread now to work on these solutions, sustainable solutions, combining chemicals and biological aspects and bringing it as a whole solution. In the Institute, we love it. We love it because it keeps us busy with exciting new aspects that we cover quite well. I have to say, let's stay humble. We learn as well by doing, but we have this chance to leverage what we did before with the Seedcare solutions only, and also with this expertise that we have acquired over the years and the rich portfolio. Yes, we can find the right combination. Guido mentioned as well, our aim is to fulfill the needs of the customer. And again, back to what I said at the introduction, we have to be very much focusing on what is exactly expected from our customers, the seed companies, but also the end user. And most of the time we think we know, but we don't know always, and we have to be as humble as possible and ask this direct question: do we fulfill the need by providing you this solution? Yes, no. Where can we do better?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Well, thank you both very much. Look, in closing, this technology, from what I've heard, is getting better and better as R&D companies are investing more and more, bringing real science, and the future looks really bright. And it's needed, right? This is going to play an increasingly important part in sustainable food production for the world, and we need that in an environment where the climate's getting more and more unreliable and difficult to grow crops in. And that really starts with seeds turning into healthy young plants to go on and fulfill their yield potential later on. So our role as the Seedcare Biologicals Institute is to really help educate people about this technology, help them understand the science and appreciate how these products work. And we need to bring those new services alongside that help give the assurance that you've talked about being so important on how they will fit into an existing recipe with conventional chemistry and other solutions. Yeah. So we can't do it all. We don't have all the answers. I heard you mention that as well. We need to work with our partners. Please come and visit us at the booth up the back there. Love to talk about the technology that's in the pipeline, the services we're trying to bring through. And yeah, have a great Congress, and we'll see you all at lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.